confirm that my suspicions were correct, that you turned to leave, you got the tweet, and you came running back in because you knew you had work
I was
to do.
walking in to the studio where my things were to grab them and exit.
Yep.
I was going home. And literally, I got a text from my mom. So I'm in the restroom. I'm walking out of the restroom towards the studio. It's like a 10-foot walk. And I get a text from my mom that just says woo with a bunch of O's.
Oh.
And like a little Ric Flair action. And I was like, what is this about? And then it dawned on me. And then I got a Slack notification from USA Today that was like, hey, this just happened.
So Schefter not on push notifications for you?
I don't have Twitter on my phone.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's been a great
stunning revelation for those that know you, but good for you.
It's been great for my mental
Also,
health.
I know it's your first day or your first week. You want to like adjust that camera a little bit so like they can see. No, I do love that you're wearing the new free shirts that we got yesterday. You look terrific. Lots of team spirit.
Yeah, no. Okay.
It's okay. We're getting no. It's your first week. We're gonna teach you everything. We got you, buddy. It's all good.
The funny thing about this news breaking when Kyle was leaving is the same thing happened with Trey Lance last week too.
Man,
dude was in the parking lot. And they broke the Trey Lance.
Yeah, my car was in reverse, and I got a text from Jesse like Lance got traded.
I'm glad they did it during the show.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, shout out to
that's cool for you guys.
Let's thank Rock.
That's so cool.
I know the whole way driving in, I'm hearing about it.
So Kenny, how does this contract affect Nick Bosa's trade value?
Oh, wait a minute, we got more. We've got more tweets. Stand by. Oh, this was a gem right here.
Y'all can bring up the tweets if you want to. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't want Nick Bosa. I didn't want him here.
December 5th.
You didn't want him here 10 minutes ago.
No, that's not true. No, because as a matter of fact, because what Jesse was talking about, we'll trade him then. And what I say, Jesse?
Kenny said he won't trade him. It's not what he wants to do.
You ain't going nowhere. We're going to figure this out as a family.
December 5th, 2018 was a hell of a day for Kenny, as he also tweeted, all these mock drafts have the 49ers taking Nick Bosa with the first pick. Eye roll emoji 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Please win some games so we don't have to take this guy.
I can't remember who I really wanted. It wasn't, I mean, I said Greedy Williams.
You were a Quinnen Williams guy for sure.
No, because I'm a linebacker quarterback guy. So like in the Deshaun draft, I wanted Deshaun or Reuben Foster.
Yeah.
Like that to me, that's your guys. And everybody's like, you got to take it. Myles Garrett. I was like, man, look, man, give me a quarterback or a middle linebacker. So I got to figure out who I really wanted in that draft. It wasn't Greedy Williams.
I'm sure we can find it, but that's.
I'm gonna tell you who it is. I'm gonna tell you it wasn't Nick Bosa. I didn't want Nick Bosa.
Well, you got him.
Got him now, though.
You got him.
And after that first game against Tampa Bay, I was like, this boy bad.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this dude is bad.
He did that like without a training camp.
Red hat and all.
Didn't he not play any preseason games? Didn't he just play that?
I don't think he's ever played a preseason game, has he?
Maybe. Yeah, that might be right.
I don't think he has.
Because I don't remember seeing him that rookie year until week 1 against Tampa Bay, and he was just causing havoc from like the first snap. I was like, damn, maybe he is the truth.
Good player.
All my attention, as is the case with major contracts now, will shift to Mike Florio. I think Mike Florio and Pro Football Talk do a really, really great job of breaking down the intricacies of what these deals actually look like.
Sure.
You know, the 170. The 170
right, up to 170
and the 122.5. What do you think this deal actually looks like?
I have no idea.
Yeah, this is a weird one to figure out, because that was, I think, the crux of our frustration was you can fudge this to make it look like he's making $40 million a year if you wanted to.
Exactly. The 122.5 though is a huge guaranteed number for a defensive player. And that probably means that the Niners wanted to do a deal. And I think this was probably the hang up. The Niners wanted to do one of those deals where they can get out of it. It's a 5-year deal, but really it's like a 3-year deal. Right. And they have those trap doors where they can get off the player for cheap after 2 years or 3 years. And Bosa's going, no, I want that guarantee, that $122.5 million. I want that spread out So I'm getting paid for 5 years.
Well, my guess there is a trap door, but it's probably that 5th year.
Yes.
I don't think there's anytime
Or
you
like a
hear a
4-year
5-year deal, I don't think it's ever 5 years. I think in most cases it's 3.
Mm-hmm.
But in this sense, with
And-
Nick Bosa being what 25 years
25,
old,
almost 26.
You're saying it's like Mahomes' $500 million deal.
no, Mahomes' $500 million deal was stupid.
It was so wild.
Like it was the most ridiculously covered contract in history, and 2, we're not too far away from, like, at some point, I'm sure Patrick Mahomes already wants to redo it. At some point, Kansas City's going to, because there's like a $50 or $60 million
That's what I'm
year.
saying.
In there.
Like that's
it's
where they start renegotiating.
and then that's where they
all that
blow
other
it
stuff.
up and are like, oh, let's try again. Yeah, that deal was stupid. Absolutely absurd. That was like Magic Johnson's 25-year, $25 million deal that he signed back in 1981 or whatever it was.
Most total guaranteed in NFL history for a defensive lineman. Number 3, Khalil Mack, $90 million. Number 2,
Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa,
Yeah.
102.
Yeah.
Nick Bosa just got 122.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
He probably just wanted bragging rights at Thanksgiving too.
He's got it.
Definitely. He's also
Big bank,
better
tank,
than
little
Joey.
bank.
But
He's significantly better than Joey Bosa in my
Yeah.
opinion. Did you think when you signed off at 12 o'clock today on the Insiders, Monday through Friday, 10 to 12 on ESPN 1320, did you
Nice,
think
dude.
this deal was getting done?
not 102.5?
Not 1025, not this time. We'll get you ready for that. We'll get you ready for that.
Yeah, no. The way Ian Rappaport talked about it this morning on NFL Network, where he said he's not in the building, and at this point he's probably not going to be able to play week 1. That read to me like he knew that they were really far apart and this deal wasn't happening. And so I was just like, all right, I guess they're going to have to get steamrolled by Pittsburgh for the Niners to pull the trigger, I guess.
Yeah, I envision isn't that the story with Jimmy Johnson, where after the first Cowboys Super Bowl, Emmitt Smith had a holdout. And they went 3 games, and I think they got beat up bad in Dallas by Buffalo. It was a Super Bowl rematch, and Jimmy Johnson storms into Jerry Jones's room and says, "God damn it, give him the money!" Like they start off like 1-2 or something like that, and Emmitt was there.
I thought that's
on
where this
Monday.
was going. I legitimately thought that's where this was going.
Oh, that would have been tough.
Yeah.
That would have been tough. Here's something that I alluded to earlier, but we haven't had the opportunity to talk about it. We're going to steal a few more minutes of Kyle's time and discuss this. I feel like the structure of Nick Bosa's year has changed dramatically because if Nick Bosa signs a 170, 122.5 guaranteed deal 2 months ago and gets hurt in week number 2, damn it, sucks. It's man,
Yeah.
it's too bad. It sucks playing without Nick Bosa. You move on. Nick Bosa signs $170 million, $122.5 million guaranteed contract today and gets hurt in week 2. That conversation is very, very, very different than if he had signed that deal two months ago.
He could get hurt. He could struggle. Anything that goes sideways a little bit for Nick Bosa this year, it's gonna be like, man, what if he had a full training camp? What if he had half a training camp?
Yeah.
What if he had one extra practice?
Right. What if he had one single practice?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, even all that, and I agree with both you guys on that, but just, hey, it's what happens in sports. You know, I try not to do it. I don't really, we pocket watch, but once you got the bag, like, cool, you got the bag. I'm not really.
Now just get Kyle familiar with the music, just so we know.
Once that happens, you got the bag. But there will be people, if he starts slow,
Big time.
get in. We paying you all this money.
Oh yeah.
And this how you what we paying for?
That's I'm sorry, sir. How much did you contribute to Nick Bosa's contract?
Well, that's kind of the thing now, though, is this is inevitably going to mean, if my understanding of where the 49ers are cap-wise, this is going to mean that they're going to have to let some people go here over the next offseason or 2 off seasons.
Who are you thinking?
Eric Armstead, George Kittle,
and
Kyle Juszczyk, maybe.
Kyle just says it.
Yeah, he does,
we try to avoid saying it. Kyle just comes out, well, Eric Armstead first. We all kind of knew that Eric was
I mean,
probably
yeah.
it's
And
a tough
Kittle's
one
the
to
other
suck.
one
Maybe he
Yeah.
reworks his deal to take less money and stay there
Ooh.
and be a 10-year guy. And
Repeat that.
Kittle is the guy that I thought about.
that was another one.
Kittle's on the other side.
He is
right.
He is. Kittle might not even play on Sunday. It's another year of him.
I think he's gonna play.
I think he will too,
Yeah.
but it's still
No, he's been banged up for
yeah.
sure.
Is it?
Yeah, Kittle's another guy though.
Is it foul to say or wrong? You because you guys are the experts. I'm just a fan. I'd rather see them lose Kittle than Eric Armstead because I just don't think Kittle's
tough, man. That's tough.
I got you
because I love Eric, but man, I love Kittle, man.
I know.
Kittle,
I just don't know that
that's
George.
my dude, man.
I don't think George is that dude anymore, though.
11 touchdowns.
I don't think
last year.
he's bad. Yeah, I don't think he's okay. Well, let's go. Daniel.
Here's-
By the way, Daniel threw something when he got that notification earlier.
What,
Our
did he
man
break some
Daniel.
glass?
He broke. Hey, Daniel, how you feeling? Well, okay. There goes his sliding glass door. But he brought up the Patriots. You get rid of a player a year too early rather than a year too late.
If he's not willing to negotiate something, if he's willing to work with you, I think you keep him around. But if not,
my whole thing with Kittle and Armstead, I got to see what Armstead looks like next to Javon Hargrave, because if he looks like what he looked like
That's
next
a
to
good
DeForest
point.
Buckner, then maybe my mind changes.
Mhm.
I tend to lean towards keeping defensive players, though, productive defensive players, because I think Kyle Shanahan can coach around the absence of George Kittle. I think they have enough weapons that if, George Kittle's not on the team anymore, the offense is going to look different, but I think you can figure it out. They just spent 2 draft picks on tight ends. Like, they're gearing up to not have George Kittle anymore. But if Eric Armstead comes out and just kind of has a so-so year, especially from a pass rushing perspective, and Kittle puts up 10 touchdowns again, then it's not really a contest for me the other way.
And you agree with me where I say Ayuk is not an option. Like, I hear people throwing around like, how are you going to sign Ayuk? No, we're signing Ayuk. Even if we got to franchise him, it's not an option that Ayuk isn't around, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. I think it depends a little bit. I think their hope is that Debo has like a big bounce back year this year and looks like Debo Samuel from a couple years ago. I looked this up the other night. In 2021, he had 12 receptions of 30 or more yards. He had 2 last year, Debo. So I don't think they need a bounce back from him, 1,700 yards and 14 touchdowns, but to be that big play guy so they can trade Debo for something of value and then sign Ayuk. I think that's probably their hope, because I don't think
I've
they
heard
can
about
give him
that
both.
too, about Debo being the man out.
Yeah, it's weird. It's hard when you have this many good players on an NFL roster.
Yeah, probably perspective is important. This sucks, but it's a great problem to have.
Yeah,
like you have really talented players who you have arguably the most talented roster in the entire league, and you have a wide range of players who have earned higher end salaries because of their play.
So here's the funny the funny situation. Shout out to TC and everybody else like that. If they would have kept Trey Lance, would it not have been a Super Bowl or bust season? Because people were like, once they got rid of him, oh, you better win a Super Bowl now, Kyle.
Dude,
you better win it now. Like,
no, that's it.
Yeah,
that's
already what it was.
I agree. I'm so with you. Like, oh, he tied his wagon to Brock Purdy. You got to go win one. Okay, we were there, man.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't George Kittle, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa that put the pressure on them to go win a Super Bowl. It was Trey Lance and Brock Purdy.
No,
that's people podding. Like, people be podding in real life. Like, hey, guys, settle down.
Podding in real life.
Settle down.
Put that on the shirt.
Podding in real life.
Real life pods.
Yeah. No, I mean, this team. We talk about windows in the NFL, and we look at the last 2 NFC Championship games this year. Talk about the window, like they're in the midst of their window. In actuality, they're probably 5 years into the window. I mean, because you got 2019, then you got 2020, and then you got these last 2 years. 3 of the last 4 NFC Championship games, the Super Bowl, and that. Usually, the window for Super Bowl caliber teams is about 5 years max. They're on
Yeah.
the 5th year.
Yeah, unless
Like,
you
the
have like
time
an
is now.
elite quarterback,
Right.
but there's only a couple of those guys in the league. Yeah, I'm with you. The fact that it's been since 2019, they've been contenders outside of 2020, like that's pretty impressive. And this is the point, and I think they understand what you're saying here, and that's why they went all in with Javon Hargrave, and they're giving Nick Bosa all this money, and they're like, all right, like this is the year. There's this year and maybe next year, depending on how some things shake out, and then what does it look like after that? But if you're constantly worried about what does it look like in 2 or 3 years, you're never going to get it done in now.
Right.
If you're constantly worried about the next couple of years.
And you guys heard me talk about it after all this news broke. I've said it a number of different times. This is probably the first year in this run, and since I've got this radio show, and this is the Niners Super Bowl year. This is it.
You've picked them every year we've done
I
this
picked
show.
them to get, but what have I always said though? I've been like, I can see it. They have the talent, all this other, stay healthy, all this other stuff. To me, they're the Super Bowl favorites, above Kansas City, above Philadelphia. This is the best team in football. This is the best team. They got to win a Super Bowl this year.
Well, I think those two statements can be mutually exclusive. They got to win a Super Bowl this year. I agree with you there. I don't think it's the end of the world if they don't.
It's not the end of the world.
But we're nearing it.
This is one of
I think we're nearing the end of the respective 49ers world if they don't win the Super Bowl.
I think this is the best opportunity they've had in 5 years.
I don't disagree with that.
I think I agree.
I do think they're better than Philadelphia, but I'm going to give the Super Bowl champions, who still have the greatest quarterback that ever existed on their team, allegedly.
I'm personally not ready to put him above Philly yet. I think there's another level for Jalen Hurts. And that
I hope you're right in that regard. I absolutely hope you're right in that regard.
But they're right there. Like this is the first time I've gone into a year like, oh, if they won it this year, it wouldn't be like they should, because it's hard to say they should. But
right. It's a one-game situation.
Before it was like, man, I don't know if Jimmy, I don't know. It's like, you know what? I feel really good about this team going into this year. And I never feel good about the 49ers going into a year.
One of the early D'Lo and KC moments was in 2020. Remember,
one of our original social media clips. I know exactly what you're going to say.
I said they had the best roster in football.
Yeah, I remember. It's out there on as one of our original social media clips.
And everybody got hurt.
Yep.
This year, I think they got the best roster in football. Like I said, I thought they could win the Super Bowl these last 2 years or whatever. There were still questions whether it was at running back, playmakers. I know the year Debo went crazy. I came back the next. I was like, man, they need either a running back so he doesn't have to run all the time, or a wide receiver so he can be a running back. They needed another piece here and there. Right now, I don't feel like they need another piece. I think they got everything they need to win. This is the best opportunity they've had in the Kyle Shanahan era to win a Super Bowl.
Who's the 15th best quarterback in the league to you? 16th. Sorry. Math.
I don't know.
Just off the top of my head, is Jimmy Garoppolo or Kirk Cousins?
Okay, Kirk Cousins was the name I had in mind.
Yeah.
I think if they had Kirk Cousins instead of Brock Purdy, I think there would be a much different conversation about the 49ers. Because the quarterback position is just so vital and so important that you look at Brock Purdy and go, like that roster is really good, but and I think that's why you see the Niners as I think they're the number 2 team in betting odds to come out of the NFC. But they're typically like 4th, 5th, or 6th, depending on for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think if, like I said, they had Kirk Cousins as their quarterback, I think they'd be up there, maybe above Philly.